My name is Michelle and welcome to Pantry Essentials. And this show is going to tell you how to make meals from the objects that you keep in your pantry on hand that can stretch out what you have in the refrigerator, if that makes sense. So today's recipe is actually using leftovers ham from a Christmas dinner. Everybody either had ham or turkey, we had ham, and today I'm going to make fried rice. Now the recipe, which is from Ming Tsai, in his recipe he calls for bacon or a Chinese sausage. But this is my version of the recipe using my staples that I have, and I'm going to be using ham. So let's get started. The recipe calls for us to take 3 eggs and we're going to cook them in the pan over here. Turn our pan on, let the pan heat up for a second. We're going to put about a tablespoon of canola oil. The recipe actually calls for 2 tablespoons of canola oil. I'm going to do 1, and we're going to use the eggs. There's 3 eggs, 3 meat. So I'm beating the eggs, and we're going to cook them really quick. It's just like scrambled eggs. There's no water added, it's just eggs. The oil should be hot. And let's throw the eggs in. We're going to cook them. You can hear it, it's starting to. You want to keep them moving because you don't want to make them brown. Brown would be overcooked. Okay, so those are good. They may seem slightly undercooked to you. They're not. They're actually perfectly done. I'm going to cut the heat. And I'm going to transfer them to the plate. And you're going to use the same pan. So you want to get the eggs out really well. So the eggs are on the side and they're cooling off. And so right now we're going to cut up a bunch of green onions. And what is a bunch of green onions? Is it half the container of onions? Is it 2? Because 2 is a bunch, right? It's not. I want to say grab whatever you think is a good amount of onions for you. So I want to say 5 works for me because we like green onions in this house. So I just cut off the bottoms. You don't want to eat the root. Not good. And you're going to dice up the green onions. Try to keep them all about the same size. Uniformity is important in cooking because, well, for most things, because you want to have things cook about the same time. And so we are calling for 2 cloves of garlic. Smash the garlic, smash the second one, and then we're going to dice them finely. And then we're going to do ginger. Ginger comes in a big stalk, and at the grocery store you can break off as much as you want. Nobody's ever told me you can't, and I do it anyways. So I've heard where people use the back of spoons. I did not grab a spoon, I grabbed a fork. It's the same concept. You're going to use the back of the fork and you're going to rub it up against the ginger to peel the skin. See, you don't need a potato peeler. It's just that's just not worth it. I'm kind of a multitasker in the kitchen. I like to use one utensil for many things because the truth is I don't want to clean up the mess. So if I can get away with using the fork for everything, the fork it is. So it's almost peeled. So ginger is very woody, and by woody, you'll see. So I'm going to cut it. I'm going to smash it, and I'm going to show you. It's got these little fibers in them. So you want to make sure that you dice them. Now ginger is calling for us 2 tablespoons, so that's going to be about 2 tablespoons. I have to tell you, I'm not real big on measuring cut vegetables like 2 tablespoons. You can eyeball 2 tablespoons, but if you're not really comfortable with that and you think that you might put too much ginger or too much garlic, go right ahead and use your measuring spoons. That's what they're for. It's just I personally don't do it. And so keep dicing. Up. So here's where the pantry part comes in. In this original recipe, it calls for bacon as the fat to cook the fried rice in, or it calls for Chinese sausage. I've never bought the Chinese sausage. I'm sure it tastes good, but bacon is always available, and but I'm going to use the ham because that's what it's a pork product. So if you're not a big fan of ham, you could use turkey bacon. We're a big fan of turkey bacon. You're probably going to have to add a little bit more fat because the turkey bacon won't have as much fat in it. So let's move over back to the pan. I'm going to turn it on and we're going to get frying away. Okay, I put in 2 tablespoons of oil, and this time I really am going to use the 2 tablespoons. They call for because eventually this oil is going to fry this rice, and you're going to need the fat to work for you. So right now, in this pan, we're going to put in the ginger and the garlic. And it's the same pan that I used with the eggs. I didn't do a very good job of scraping that out. My pan was not hot enough when I cooked those. That's why they're all sticking. So ginger burns really, really fast. And burnt ginger is nasty. So you got to keep stirring this around. And garlic too. I mean, it's not very good. So turn this, you're going to stir this around for, I say 30 seconds to a minute. You're softening the garlic, really. You're not browning it. You don't want any color. That's why you want this heat at a good temperature. And that's where you're going to get a lot of the rice, the flavor. And then we're going to add the green onions. And we're going to add our leftover ham. This is probably about a cup and a half. If you're using bacon, you're probably going to use about 6 pieces of bacon. Hey, I used up the rest of my Christmas ham. Whee, it's all gone. No more ham. You're just basically warming up the ham. And now you're going to toss in your 8 cups of cooked rice. Now, sometimes when I'm making rice for the night before and I think about what I want to have, I will make extra amounts of rice so I can do this. And I'll be honest with you, I did not have leftover rice last night. I made this today because I wanted to make this recipe. But 8 cups of cooked rice is 1.5 cups of dry rice cooked down. So now you're just going to put your white rice in here. You can also use brown rice. That's your choice. You know, for you health conscious people out there, it's going to be good. It's going to have a nuttier flavor, but it's going to be different. You're coating the rice with the oil and the garlic and the ginger. And this is where a big wok comes in handy because 8 cups of rice does not a little pan make happy. No. Okay, so keep stirring this. It smells really good. Makes me hungry. So I'm going to let that sit on the pan for a little bit. It's going to pick up the flavors on the bottom, and the rice is going to get slightly caramelized. And while that's sitting there, I'm going to turn this in a minute. Right now, I'm going to measure out, and I am using a measuring, I do use these on occasion. I'm going to measure 3 tablespoons of soy sauce. I use the less sodium, light soy sauce because the other ones are just too salty for me. And plus, it tastes better, I think. I mean, I want to taste the food, and I don't want to taste the salt. So there's 1, 2, 3, 3.5. It doesn't say that, but I like soy sauce. Stir this around. And now we're going to add back in our scrambled eggs that we cooked. Kind of hit them with your spatula to break them up. And even if you cooked your ham in a little bit of pineapple juice like I did, you're not going to be able to tell in this rice. And honestly, the pineapple flavor would probably go really well with the soy. If you even kick up the heat a little bit, you want to kick it up because you want to get, see how it's starting to stick a little bit at the bottom of the pan. That's what you want. You know how fat is good? Crispy brown stuff is good too. That's what you want. So that's it. Cool. So this is what we end up with. The fried rice, the leftover Christmas ham with our pantry staples with the green onions and the eggs, and our rice, which is definitely a staple. And so, it's good. If I cry because my tongue's burnt, it's all for you. It's great. And please subscribe to my show, and if you do, I'll send you a piece of rice. Everybody's going to ask for a piece of rice now.
Yeah. I don't know if you want to do that.
Okay. Okay. And please subscribe to my show. And if you do, I'll like you.